What is going on, everybody? I have to be relatively quiet because your boy is streaming from the hotel. So I hope you guys can hear me. And I hope it's not lagging too incredibly terrible. But it's certainly possible. So let me know how the stream is going. If there's any crazy lag, then we'll go from there. But I hope you guys are having a great day. Hope you guys have had a great week. Joseph, I travel. Part of my job is that I travel. So naturally, this is the first time I have pretty much ever streamed from a hotel room. So I have to be a little bit quieter than you guys are normally used to. But today we're going to try to cover quite a bit of videos. I figure that's going to be a little bit easier on the stream as well. And obviously the stream is going to be a little bit laggy probably because of the internet. Working that out. Again, this is why it's important to fund your local creator, because I can then get an awesome hotspot. That's what I'm working on trying to do. But again, I can't speak real loud because I don't want to disturb the neighbors. So without further ado, we're going to go jump straight into this clip. We're going to be watching two videos today, and I'm going to kind of talk about the news a little bit. So one of the things that we have going on right now is we have, and you might be wondering, why are you holding this big old snowball? This is the microphone, guys. Okay, I don't know where my stand went. I have a stand right here, but the stand ended up disappearing. So IDK, I don't care if you swear. A lot of people come in here and they start saying all sorts of crazy stuff. So it's not the end of the world. But anyways, let's jump straight into it. We're gonna cover Donald Trump's pressers. I have a few topics I want to cover that happened over this past week because I don't have the setup to be able to just breeze through a lot of these news topics. So we're just gonna cover them. All right. You're gonna get a lot calmer Vince than you were used to. Okay. You're not really gonna get a much excited Vince today. All right. So let's talk about some stuff. So the Dems fled Texas, right? It does look like a smoke detector. It's actually a thermostat. And I came in here and it was like 68 degrees. It was insane. So let's talk about the Dems fleeing Texas. So I'll give y'all a brief update on what happened. So essentially, in order for the Republicans to rig the elections, to be able to favor Republicans, they needed to essentially hold quorum. And in order to hold quorum, they need all of the representatives there to take a vote. And the Democrats decided that they weren't going to participate, and rightfully so. And they left the state. They fled to Illinois. Unfortunately, Ken Paxton, who has been going through a lengthy divorce, and I believe he went through a impeachment, they're not doing too well. They're now threatening to arrest Democratic lawmakers from the state of Texas. Going so far now, Ken Paxton is also saying that, not Ken Paxton, Abbott says he wants to get rid of these Democratic senators and remove them from their seat. Yes, that's a real thing. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to remove them from their seat. Can you believe that? That's insane to me. Imagine them. Oh, you're saying is this as... I thought you were talking about the thermostat. You're talking about this being a smoke detector. It does kind of look like a smoke detector. It's a blue snowball for anyone who's like unfamiliar with these things. So you're going to see me kind of shifting my hand a little bit because I have to hold it, unfortunately, because it's the only way that the audio picks up halfway decently, unfortunately. So anyways, that happened. That's where we're at right now with the Texas legislature. The Texas legislature is now saying that they are going, some of the governors from, the governor from Texas is saying that they're going to essentially arrest these individuals. And they're doing it. They're trying to, I think they're already putting out, Rip, did it cut out? I don't know what you're talking about Rip for. I'm looking at my audio over here on my phone, and it looks pretty decent. Although I look orange like an Oompa Loompa. So, invest in a better mic so you can stop suffering. Listen, okay, first of all, I have another mic. But I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to... okay, thank you, Joseph. I have another mic, but unfortunately it's at the house, and I didn't feel like taking my $300 microphone, the one that you guys are familiar with, and bringing it on the road with me with the chance of it being confiscated by TSA for some stupid reason. So I'd rather bring this little cheap $30 mic or even get like a Blue Yeti. Anyways, so then we had the Trump economy. Okay, so y'all might remember last week when Donald Trump did not like facts. This is the whole point of the stream, right? Donald Trump doesn't like facts. Facts don't care about his feelings. He fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I think we went over it on Friday, okay? Well, I've been listening to a few different arguments from conservatives, and they're like, well, if the numbers are terrible, then they shouldn't be in place. Here's the reality when it comes to the Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner, okay? First of all, the Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner actually does about 3 different revisions, right? And I think we kind of went over this a little bit on Friday. So we're going to see a revision done in June, we're going to see a revision done in July, and we're going to see a revision done in August. That's just how this goes. But Donald Trump wants to put somebody in place who will do his bidding. That's exactly what that is. It's insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me. And then we have some different deals going on, right? And I think it's super important when we talk about these things that people understand that the EU deal is nothing but smoke. Smoke and mirrors. That's exactly what it is, right? Is smoke and mirrors. And then we have where they're saying they're going to invest $600 billion. That's not correct at all. The $600 billion was because there was some kind of investment with, I believe, oil and gas or something along those lines, and he just used that. The reality is that other EU businesses are going to invest in the United States, and there's no real number to it. It's not binding because there's no contract. That's how Donald Trump works. Brian Blank said, remember Obama's birth certificate, then Trump pulled back about prosecuting? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Brian, the thing is, too, is like Donald Trump will constantly sit there and say he's going to do all sorts of crazy things, and then he ends up not doing it, right? So, IDK, welcome in, by the way. Welcome in. I appreciate you coming in. Some updates on Epstein before we get into the videos, okay? Because that's where the bulk of our videos are going to be centered around. Some stuff with the Epstein. There was the New York Times article that came out, and it actually showed what I've been saying, okay? Your boy Vince was right. It was showing that there was pictures of Donald Trump and Melania with Epstein in Epstein's New York penthouse. What do you know? And I've been saying this, right, is that the reason why Donald Trump is terrified of these Epstein files coming out is probably because there's just pictures at best, right? Like at best, there's just pictures of him sitting around, and he doesn't want those pictures to be released. And now we're starting to see that. There's a lot of high-ranking officials who are pictured with Epstein, and Donald Trump is terrified of that. And today, it was announced that J.D. Vance was going to be meeting with some high-ranking officials in the Trump administration to discuss the Epstein fallout. It was then announced that they were not going to do that, and guess what? They canceled the plans. So it's crazy to see this total thing play out, and now they're trying to like go after. And it's funny too because Republicans have also put in a subpoena to bring in Hillary Clinton, Obama, Comey, all these other people. We know what Republicans are doing here. Republicans don't want to bring these people in to actually investigate the Epstein files. They want to bring them in so that they can question them about the 2016 election, right? It's a little bit of a trap door. First of all, I want to let you guys know, if you haven't already, now that everybody's starting to stream in here, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell if you haven't already. It boosts us in the algorithm, and we really want that, okay? Even though this is a hotel stream, and I think it's doing pretty decent for what it's worth. I think the stream looks pretty good, other than my color looking kind of funny. But make sure you do that, please. What's that, IDK? What do you want? What do I want to know? And I'm about to pull up the videos that we're going to start watching today. Get that pulled up real quick. We're going to start with the oldest one. This was the Olympics they announced. And there's some pretty good clips in here. Okay. I literally have a red rotating beacon next to my bed. Oh, bed. A red rotating beacon. NWXT. Oh, next to my... Yeah, I don't know what that is. All right. Oh, you're probably talking about like a light or something. I gotcha. All right, let's go ahead and watch this, guys. We're going to watch some videos, and usually those videos do pretty well. Let me know if it kind of bugs out a little bit. Supposedly the really good stuff is in the civil suits, but those are under seal right now as well. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Joseph. I forgot to mention this as well, is that what they said was that they were going to... Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney moved to have those sealed. He did not want those released, the testimony released, which is kind of what we all figured, right? We knew that they weren't going to actually do anything with those Epstein files. It's pretty crazy. Let's go ahead and try to watch this video. Hopefully it works, but we'll see.
Chairman of LA 28, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, and the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
So it looks like right here, this for anybody who's unaware, this is actually for the 2028 Olympics. Although with Trump's immigration policies, I doubt that we're going to have any real meaningful turnout for the Olympics, to be honest with you. Like an emergency light that would be in the building. Oh, okay. That sucks. I would hate to have that near my bed. I wouldn't be able to sleep at all. But you can see we got J.D. Vance. And this is the crazy thing to me, right? Is why is Pam Bondi here? Why is she there? What does this have to do with the DOJ, right? And quite frankly, what is Kristi Noem doing here? What does this have to do with, well, maybe I guess DHS because of, immigration, I suppose. But why is she even there? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And this is the problem I have, right? Is that, like, the DOJ should not be this involved and this close to the president. I'm sorry. I think the DOJ is a part of the judicial branch. Yes, they are appointed by the president, but there's no reason we should have this many people up here to talk about the Olympics. It's built with the seal to stop the ignition of flammable gases or any flammable airborne things. Oh, okay, gotcha. So, I got you, IDK. You're good. All right. Whoops. What is it?
Thank you very much, everybody. It's a big day for a lot of reasons, and it's an honor to have you in this very nice venue across the street from the White House. And thank you all for being here as we take a major step to ensure the United States is fully prepared to welcome the world to Los Angeles for the 2020.
I'm actually curious about something. I think this is the old White House studio. Yeah, I think this is the old White House studio that they were like they were joking about with Joe Biden. I don't know if y'all remember that. What up, JB? What up, guys? I don't know if y'all remember, but this looks like the same setup that they were complaining about when Joe Biden, they first came into the White House, and they were like, see, look, it was all staged. I think this is the exact same setup.
Thank you very much. An honor to have you in this very nice venue across the street from the White House. And thank you all for being here as we take a major step to ensure the United States is fully prepared to welcome the world to Los Angeles for the 2028 Summer Olympic Games. Very exciting day of my life when we got nominated and we ultimately got it. And I didn't think I'd be here for the games in this capacity, but it worked out that way. So I'm very happy about that. And had no idea that was going to happen. When we got it, I said, it's too bad I won't be president then, but sort of we took a very circuitous route, didn't we? In my first term, we were instrumental in helping the city of Los Angeles win the bid to bring the Olympic torch back to American soil, and today I will sign an executive order establishing the White House Task Force on the 2028 Summer Olympics, mobilizing the entire federal government to ensure the...
Grape C said, what politician who does care about facts? I would say that Joe Biden probably cared about facts. The fact that he didn't fire the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Commissioner of Bureau of Labor Statistics, anytime that they reported or revised Joe Biden's numbers, I would say that Joe Biden cared about the facts and cared about objective reality. Unlike Donald Trump, who ended up literally saying from his own mouth that he fired the Bureau of Labor Statistics because they were fake facts.
Games are safe, seamless, and historically successful. It's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be amazing. America is a nation of champions, and in July 2028, we'll show the world what America does best, and that's win. We're winning like we have never won before. You see that?
No, we're... Oh.
All the time. A year ago, we were not a country that was doing well, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Incorrect. Like, the entire world right now is laughing at us, right? These tariff revenues that they're bringing in, the $150 billion that they're talking about, yeah, those are not going to help Americans at all. Okay, those 150, what we're seeing is that manufacturing jobs are going down, coal mining jobs are going down. We can see all over the world the trade deals are laughable. They're vacuous. There's no real binding agreement. And world leaders know this. They know that they can get an optical win for Trump, and then they can always favor it in their favor. And keep in mind, Donald Trump's playing this like Fugazi game, right? What he's doing is he's sitting there saying, hey, look, I'm going to raise the tariffs to 30%. And when so we start off at like 2% tariffs, right, on a particular country. He then increases it to 30%. And then when he gets it down to 15%, he claims it's a victory. But the reality is that we're still higher than we were originally, right? Marco LG said Trump trade war going to be great for China. Trump make China great again. Yeah, well, the funny thing about that, Marco, is that Donald Trump implemented, I forgot to mention this, a 50% tariff on India because they were importing Russian gas. The problem with this is that China also imports Russian gas as well, right? And so why isn't China being tariffed for that particular reason? And it's important to denote this reason because it is for political reasons that Donald Trump is implementing this tariff, which is something I believe that no other president has done. This is completely different, right? We can implement sanctions, but those are a little bit different. They're not necessarily tariffs. The Joseph Santos said Biden wrote executive orders that were going to fail. He cared about facts when he needed them. Biden wrote executive orders that were going to fail. He cared about facts when he needed them. Well, I don't know if I would completely agree with that. He passed more legislation than I can think of any modern president in history, or in a recent history. Right? He passed the IRA, American Rescue Plan. He passed the infrastructure bill. He would have had a bipartisan immigration bill had it not been for an election season. If Joe cared about facts, why did the Women of the Year have? See, you don't. What? That's funny to me. You mentioned that. Anyways, JB taco. Yeah, exactly. And Trump will taco out. We always know Trump chickens out, right? So, all right, let's go on.
I want to recognize several members of the task force, including our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. J.D., thank you very much. Thank you. Our equally great Attorney General, Pam Bondi. Pam, thank you very much, Pam. Secretary of Homeland Security, Christy Kerr. Christy Kerr. Do you know who Christy Kerr is? She's a friend of my great golfer. Christy Noem, she's a better golfer than you. That's the only thing, but you're better at a lot of other things. But I want to thank... Did
y'all see that? Let's watch that again. Let's watch that again.
Christy Kerr, she's a friend of my great golfer. Christy Noem, she's a...
Christy Kerr. That's Christy Noem there, bud. That's Christy Noem. Well, good luck getting those student loans forgiven through executive action. Yeah, so he did do the executive action, but I believe he tried to do a legislation for that. I'd have to look at that again. I'm not too familiar with the student loan forgiveness stuff, but I do know that he did try to pass something through or do an executive order on it, but then it didn't really quite work out, so he did what he was able to do within his legal means. So, Pam's legs are long. Someone turn off fan, she'll fall over. You're kind of right, actually, Joseph. She does have long legs. It's funny.
A better golfer than you. That's the only thing, but you're better at a lot of other things. But I want to thank you for being here and for doing an unbelievable job. Really an unbelievable job. FC.
Wisdom, you're correct. Welcome in, by the way. Hey, guys, do me a favor. We got 31 of you guys in here, 35 now. I know this isn't like the typical Vince Wilson show that we do. We're doing this live from the road, okay? But do me a solid favor and hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. It would mean a lot to me. I'm not expecting the stream to be super, super big, given the fact that I'm not really doing a whole lot of news today. We're doing a lot of React videos. I want to make this quick announcement, by the way. Friday, it is unlikely that I will be live at 7:30. We might have to push it back till Saturday, so we'll see. But keep an eye out. I'm going to post something on YouTube for everybody so you know. But I'm going to be traveling during that time period on Friday. So, anyways, let's continue.
Chairman Brendan Carr. Brendan, thank you. Thank you, Brendan. Doing a great job. White House.
Donald Trump loves McNuggets.
Susie Wiles, most powerful
True.
woman anywhere in the world. She's rated the most powerful woman in the world, and I agree with that. And Deputy Chiefs of Staff Stephen Miller. Stephen, thank you. What happened to Stephen? We never want to miss Stephen.
He said Stephen Miller, and Stephen Miller's not even there. Keep in mind, Stephen Miller is one of the key architects of the Muslim ban, by the way. That's a true fact. And they got wise to the fact that the Muslim ban was not going to work out too well for them in terms of the courts. And so they added a few extra countries in there. Keep it the great work, Vince. Thank you, Wisdom. Hey, look, I've never streamed from the road, and I am relying on hotel internet to really keep me going. And it's doing pretty well, I'll have to say. It's doing pretty well. All right, let's go.
Who's an MVP candidate? Dan Scavino, another MVP. James Blair, Taylor Budovich, and Nick Luna. Thank you all. Great group of...
My mic is really low. Okay, let me adjust it real quick for you guys. I'm looking at it on here, and it looks like it's not peaking too well. It's like hitting the yellow, but I will increase it just a little bit here. I don't want to make it too crazy. Thank you for that, though. I appreciate it. All right, that should be pretty good. I think it's the volume on your stream, to be honest. It might be. Jeremy, when will the United States become united again? It has become divided states, red versus blue, all of all Americans, no matter race or political views. Jeremy, the problem is that right now we have a political party in power that doesn't seek to actually unite the country. Joe Biden was the closest thing we had to uniting the country. That's the unfortunate thing. Donald Trump is literally the divider in chief. We can point to you don't have to necessarily sit there and say, well, it's because of red versus blue. We can look at some of his policies right now that is actually dividing Americans. For example, hopping out of a Penske truck. That was on Twitter today. I saw that. ICE popping out of a Penske truck at a random Home Depot. You can't sit there and tell me that that was something that they did because they had an operational target. That was all done out of random. They ran up to anybody who was Latino and detained them. It's insane. No, you're good, Steady Bear. You're good, man. No, look. The thing is that this is kind of a chill stream. This is a little bit different than we normally do. So if this is your first time in here, go watch some of my past live streams. I'm in a hotel room, so I can't really be screaming right now. Otherwise, I'll have room service up here asking why I'm yelling. So I have to be a little more tame. Y'all are getting a tame Vince. Go watch some of the past live, I promise you. American liberals are cowards. Really? Cowards? I believe they're the ones that ran away to Illinois, okay, to prevent Governor Abbott from doing something extremely unlawful halfway through the decade. I think Democrats are far more brave than Republicans. Awesome. I think I'm going to report 5,000 illegals in the morning that have deported. You do that, Nathan. You do that. If that makes you feel better in the morning. And you wonder why. See, whoever was in here, I think it was Jeremy saying, why are we so divided? This right here, Nathan, is why we're divided. Because we have people like him who, when Donald Trump said that he wanted to make America great again, just so you guys know, he wanted to make America great again back to the 60s, maybe the 40s even, when there was different water fountains for different peoples. Yeah, that's what Nathan wants. 100% Latino here. I do support 100% Trump. Well, that's great, Lopez. I'm glad that you are one. I can't verify if you actually are Latino, but if you are sitting there saying that and you genuinely are, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you believe that. Texas is trying to do it right. Texas is trying to do it right. How are they trying to do it right? What, by doing quorum, bringing quorum to the thing? Nobody in Texas wants this. This is a terrible, terrible play by Republicans anyways. What you're doing is you're giving Democrats a rallying cry to come out and vote in mass. Guess who doesn't vote in midterms? Guess who doesn't vote? Republicans. Republicans don't vote in midterms. Democrats do, buddy. And so when you sit there and you're trying to silence Democrats' voice, guess what they're going to do? They're going to rise up and they're going to vote. And a lot of those Republicans might be voted out. They're so brave for not doing their job. You sound like okay, Nathan. I mean, I'm sorry you feel that way. I know you've been in here before, and I know you just like to rage. That's okay. Feel free to rage. I'm not offended by it. Anyways, I don't know why. I'm trying to see something. I think my chat's a little bit funny. That's why my chat filter's on top messages. That would make sense. So, Nathan, what I'm going to do is when you are ready to be a grown adult and have a conversation, you can come back. For now, I'm going to time you out for 30 minutes. Call it censorship. I don't care. Democrats don't know what bathrooms to use. That's Tyson. I'll show you the bathroom here. You know what? I'm feeling froggy today, guys. Tyson, you can come back in 30 minutes too. I'm not in the mood for it. Redistricting has been the liberal leftist demon rats mantra for 50 years. Well, again, first of all, it should be done by an independent commission, which is what Governor Newsom has recommended. It goes to an independent commission, and they do the redistricting, drawing of their maps. And it's based on every decade they do a census to redraw those districts. It shouldn't be done. Gerrymandering shouldn't be done. I don't care if it's left, right, or center. It should not be done for political purposes, which is why, and it should go to an independent council to draw up those maps. So, yeah. Democrats did nothing but raise prices and neglect public safety. Okay, now you're just projecting, Joseph. They're probably not coming back in big numbers, if at all. So, first of all, Democrats rose prices. If you must say that, I think it's a bit of an elementary take to say that. Donald Trump's policies right now are quite literally raising prices. Donald Trump is implementing like a 15% base tariff across the entire entire world. So yeah, prices are going up because of Donald Trump, and people are losing jobs. We lost 11,000 manufacturing jobs last July, and we're going to see more of those jobs. Mind you, July's numbers are still going to be revised. They're going to be revised in August, and they're going to be revised in September. By September, I guarantee you, mark my words, maybe I'm wrong. If someone wants to prove me wrong, mark my words. Save this clip. Come September, there will be more manufacturing jobs that have been lost because of the revision downwards. That's how it works. Cherry said, oops, wrong room for me. Bye. Putting myself in timeout. Okay. All right, Cherry. Later. Yeah, Donald did it too. There's no excuse for anyone to do it. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about the gerrymandering? Enemies within demon rats still don't get why they lost the Senate, Congress, White House, and the popular vote. Wow, how morons. Wow, how morons. I want you to reread that statement, Lopez. I want you to reread that statement. J.D. Vance, Rubio, 2028, yeah, they'll absolutely get destroyed. There will definitely be a Democrat that will over them, for sure. We blame each other and they'll all laugh at us, play games with our future. Yeah, I mean, exactly, Morgan. These Republicans and these MAGA don't care. And I know a lot of these people coming here are just trolls. I mean, I'm not too offended by it. But yeah, I mean, right now Republicans are absolutely tearing apart our country right now. It's sad, actually. Other than globalism, what logical reason can there be for global-wide tariffs? Yeah, exactly, Knight. What logical reason can there be for a global-wide tariff? Now, I mean, again, the way that a tariff is supposed to be used is more like a crowbar than it is a sledgehammer, and Donald Trump is using it as a sledgehammer. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to use tariffs the way that we used to do it because of Donald Trump. Whether it's Democrats or Donald raising prices, there's still no excuse for what Democrats are doing separately. What are Democrats doing separately? They rose prices? How do they raise prices? If you can substantiate that claim that Democrats raise prices besides some kind of correlation, I'm willing to engage with you on it. But you can't just sit there and say, well, prices went up, or our deficit went up under Democrats. That's such an elementary take. Explain to me why it went up. Overspending? Well, we can look at the overspending of Donald Trump. I know where this dialogue tree goes. Taxation? We were under Donald Trump's tax plan until last year. Take a look. Check it. We were under Donald Trump's tax plan all the way up until last year. Nothing changed under Democrats, under Joe Biden. Then look at taxes at California, New York, and Hawaii. Well, okay, so again, if you want to play that game by saying because New York is a blue state, that is tangential to them having raised prices, we can play this game with Republican states as well who leech off the federal government. I think you need to take a more nuanced look to it and seeing why are the prices going up in those particular states besides just saying, well, blue prices go up. That's what you're doing. You're just doing correlation. Correlation doesn't equal causation. Biden nearly destroyed America? No, he didn't. Donald Trump is actively destroying it right now. In fact, whether it was a glitch or not, we'll find out. But there was, they actually removed Article 9 and 10 of, I think it was Section 1 of the Constitution from Congress's website. Oh, no. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe it was a test. Who knows? Biden, yeah, you want to talk about that, Barry? We could certainly, if you want, we could talk about Donald Trump and all of his ties with Epstein and how he's trying to cover up for him. We could talk about that guy, but back to Biden, the hair sniffer, right? Which, by the way, that allegation was totally taken out of context, and even Biden's daughter came out and said the same thing. So, yep, you're only focusing on the federal government. I'm talking about the states. Yes, I'm talking about the states too, Joseph. You can look at individual states and tell me, oh, you're saying taxation from the states. Maybe, but the problem is that the same thing that we're seeing with the states when it comes to raising prices is it doesn't totally raise prices. It depends on the industry, right? Because, for example, with tariffs, what we saw was during Donald Trump's first term, right, he put a tariff on China, and the reason why we didn't see prices go up as much was because of the fact that, sorry, I had to make sure I wasn't talking too loud. The reason why the prices didn't go up that much under Donald Trump's first term with those tariffs was because, guess what? Suppliers were going to other countries where they weren't as expensive. They weren't as expensive, right? So the same thing with like overall prices. Yeah, prices are a little more expensive in California, but there's a whole host of reasons for that, right? When we talk about housing, we could talk about supply and demand. We could talk about regulation. Sure, any kind of added expense to a business is going to increase prices to some degree or another. There's three avenues that a business raises prices on, right? Three avenues by which a business will try to absorb that expense, right? They'll either lay off workers, they'll either decrease their hours, or guess what? They'll pass on the cost to the consumer. And maybe all three, maybe a mixture of them, right? So yes, there might be a factor, but no different than if we were to look at red states as well. Okay, in fact, prices don't discriminate. Typically, prices went up generally even under red states as well. Inflation does not discriminate. Would you let your kids be around Biden? Would you let your own? Do we want to talk about Donald Trump and his creepy behavior? We can talk about that. We can talk about how he talked about his daughter Ivanka, but I know you don't want to. Joseph said maybe you should see the rates. Do you think California? You think California will at least lower taxes, limit the harm done, but they won't. Okay, so this is the idea that taxes will somehow. So this is the way I put this. First of all, guys, we got 46 people or 44 people on YouTube. Please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. We're going to continue watching this video. I'm just going to kind of engage in the chat right now. Get it? Not super entertaining. But the problem with that is that I think that for every tax there should be some kind of a deduction opportunity, right? And it depends on what you want. What incentive do you want, right? You should increase taxes, and there should be an option for them to be incentivized to maybe bring on, increase their minimum wage. I don't know. Just giving an example, right? And that deduction would then be kind of an incentive. So the punishment is increasing the tax rate. But if you don't want that tax rate, there's a simple solution. Here's your deduction that you can take to offset some of that increase by raising the minimum wage, by maybe having certain labor practices that are more preferential to the employee. I'm not opposed to deductions. I think tax deductions are great. It's one of the reasons why I think Kamala Harris was probably one of the most moderate Democratic candidates we've had in a while. But Republicans did a really good job with the PR and trying to say that she's a communist candidate. It's absurd. California is a damn disaster, completely blue state. Do we want to talk about Texas? Because according to Donald Trump, we have an invasion at our border. And where did everybody cross? Texas. I mean, it's absurd. All right, let's continue on watching this.
People, they're going to be very much involved. I also am grateful to be joined by two of Team USA's strongest and fastest.
You should see the rates yourself. That would help a lot. I mean, I'll go take a look later. I'm not going to look at them right now. I mean, I'll look at California's rates, I'll give you a good example, right? I'm not saying you're not wrong. I think you are right to an extent, but I want to be very clear when you're attributing it to just Democrats. Okay, for example, there are certain regulations that they have and taxes that they have on gasoline, for example, okay, or cars or emission tests. That makes it a little bit more expensive. I'm aware of that. I'm not saying it's not. It's one of the reasons why I'm a liberal. I'm not a Republican. I'm certainly not a communist. I'm a liberal. I'm like center left. And for anyone who's unaware, welcome in, by the way. I was someone who was unfortunately a MAGA up till about 2024. Well, not 2024, 2021. Because that's when I ended up leaving the party. I voted for Kamala Harris in 2024. So, Trump has done a great job on the border? No. So it depends on how you're talking about that, Christopher. Because this is one thing when people are like, you wouldn't give Donald Trump any credit. Well, here's the reality. I think that Donald Trump, all things considered, there is something to be said about being tough on the border. There's something to be said about putting equipment on the border. I think where he took it too far were these ICE raids, were these detention camps that he's setting up. Where he also failed is when he made that there was a militarized zone along the border. I think that was insane. I think that was absolutely insane. I think putting the military on the border is nothing but a spectacle. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars. You want to make meaningful change at the border, you invest in technology, you invest in some kind of a program, and I think there's a humane way once people are in this country illegally that we treat them. We don't treat them like the gum on your shoe. Alrighty, Rue said, I'm glad you came to your senses. Thank you, alrighty. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing is that there's only so many times when you're a Trump supporter that you can sit there and say, oh, well, that's Trump playing 4D chess. Or, oh, that's not what he meant. Right? I mean, how many times can you say that before you're just like, what is that? What is it they say? When you have to repeat yourself over and over and over again, it's the definition of sanity. Yeah, Francois, TDS is a real thing, and the Republicans face it every single day. And I know you're talking about TDS referring to me, by the way. But I called ICE on my neighbor. Yeah, you're a real piece of shit, but that's okay. Barney, show us where the tampon hurts your fifis. Okay. So, let's continue watching this.
His competitors, retired gold medalist and gymnast, and member of the LA 28 Athletes Council, Nastasha Lukin. Nastasha?
See, and this is the crazy thing to me about this, is that Donald Trump is hosting the Olympics in LA. Of all places, he's hosting it in LA. Keep in mind, this is also the same place that Donald Trump is trying to be very tough on ICE deportations. Nobody's going to want to go to LA at all. And I don't blame them. And in fact, if you look at what Donald Trump did, is he expanded the border, the authority for the Border Patrol by, I think it was 100 miles from the border. And guess what? That very much includes Los Angeles. Los Angeles is very much right there. Y'all just want to just, go AWOL. That's okay. I live next to LA and I don't want to go there. Yeah. Okay, well, that's cool. Like I said, it's hilarious to me that you guys are, so, and I know most of you guys are trolls, and that's okay. I don't mind engaging the trolls. You guys are, helping me out on my views, so I appreciate you. You're trying to troll me, but you're giving me some views, so I appreciate it. Damn amount of TDS people that does these live stream YouTube force this shit. What are you talking about, Michael? You came in here. You can swipe right up, but you decided to swipe in here, watch the stream, take the time to actually type out a comment just to say that. I appreciate the comment, buddy. I'm Mexican, bro, and if you think the border patrols are just to stop immigration, the border patrols are not there to necessarily stop immigration. The border patrol is going in and actually okay, hold on, wait. This is coming off completely different, Francois. So first of all, I think they're way stepping out of their bounds, right? I think we are seeing stop and frisk play out in real time. We're seeing immigrants' constitutional rights being violated. And yes, undocumented immigrants are entitled to constitutional rights. But anyways, you are a troll yourself. Thank you. Again, take the time, type out that comment. Appreciate that comment. Appreciate you participating in my trollingness. That's good. All right, let's keep going.
How are you, Nastasha? I don't know you, but I've watched you. You're very talented. I would not want to do what you do. This is much easier, believe me. It's incredible what you've done, along with retired gold medal Paralympian swimmer and board member of the U.S. Olympic Committee, Brad Snyder. Brad, thank you very much, Brad.
I'm in Alberta and I like this video. Thank you, alrighty. I appreciate that. Hey guys, by the way, if you are watching this and you do enjoy this content, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. This is not how we typically handle these streams. We stream Wednesday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am on the road, so unfortunately I am a little less excited than I normally am. But take a video of one of my previous live streams. This is a much more chill, but kind of aggressive live stream. So appreciate y'all enjoying this. The World Cup is going to be here in the States. We don't have enough time to fix all the disaster Biden administration caused. Barry. Poor Barry. So misled.
It's a great honor. Thank you. Chairman of the 2028 Olympic Games, Casey Wasserman, a friend of mine for a long time. Casey, thank you very much. Casey, great job. It's going to be amazing. LA's a little bit different place than it was when selected, but we're going to bring it back stronger than ever. I spoke to Casey about that. He said, nope, we're going to make it better than ever. It's going to be something that's going to make it even more important.
Alrighty. I saw that. So here's the thing about ICE lowering their age limits. I couldn't help but think about a particular region in Europe during, I don't know, let's say the 1920s to 40s, and how they brought in the youth to try to teach them how to be patriotic, militarized youth. Lots of parallels. I live in Canada, bro, but I've been keeping up with American politics longer than you appear to be alive. Francois, age doesn't mean anything. I've met a lot of people, especially online, who are much older than I am, that have an incredibly dense idea of what politics is. Not to mention as well that typically the older you get, the more rigid you are in your ways, and they're less likely to move away from those ways. That's just a fact. I didn't say that, Christopher, but it's interesting you did.
It was an interesting conversation we had as the fire.
Hey, Tracy, I appreciate you coming in here and listen. I'm a little irritated with some of the people in this chat, but I do not mind people who come in here and give differing opinions. There's obviously levels, and I appreciate your statement, right? I disagree with most of your opinions, but I like hearing different views, and that's great. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with what I'm saying. In fact, I tell people all the time, go in there, do your own research. Don't take what I say at face value. I'm a political pundit. I would hope that you trust me, that the news I'm giving you, but I don't want you to take everything I say as all the truth. I want you to do your own research. Challenge me based on facts, not on feelings. Don't come in this room trying to sit there and say you have TDS. That doesn't do anything. TDS, I've heard that 1,000 times. That's so 2016, and then they'll sit there and try to say something that's a little bit transphobic. Yeah, guess what? That's a little old too, guys. Try something different. Try something new. Oh, you're fake. Man, y'all got to work on these trolls things. You should pay attention to trafficking. Nearly 500,000 kids go off the census every year. Look it up. Hey, guess what? Yeah, not a cool thing to do. I would actually say if Donald Trump was a champion for it, he should be releasing those Epstein files, but he's not going to.
We're raging. Is that right? And I appreciated that very much.
Thank you so much, Vonda, for subscribing.
Reynold Hoover. Reynold, thank you very much.
He didn't lose 250,000 children. Again, do your research.
Welcome the chair of the U.S. Olympic Committee, Gene Sykes. Gene, thank you. Thank you, Gene, very much.
Okay, bye, Ralph. Thank you for
for
commenting that.
banning men from competing in women's sports. That's a big deal. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
it's so lame.
Amazing the way I don't hear any
But
words
then you
for
don't
that,
care.
but
You don't care
everyone
about
here-
children. You don't care about them.
It's a 97. Don't worry about it. That's a 97.3. It's not 80-20. It's 97.3. But nobody wants to clap. It's crazy. The United States will not let men steal trophies from women at the 2028 Olympics, and we appreciate the fairness and everything else that you've shown. Also, with us today is LA 28 board member Reince Priebus. And all
Yeah, Christopher, I can't put a read on you, man. I feel like you're engaging in good faith, though. I agree with you on the Epstein stuff for sure. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, the problem I have with Donald Trump is I'm not saying that Donald Trump has done anything necessarily criminal. Necessarily. Okay, to be clear. But the fact that he's covering up for it so hard really makes one wonder, why are you covering up so hard for it? Right? It is something that somebody who is guilty would do.
Also, Kevin McCarthy. I want to thank Kevin McCarthy and Reince. Thank you, Reince. And thank you, Kevin.
Yo, we got 89 people in here. Please hit that like, subscribe, notification bell.
It's going to be incredible. It's so exciting. And with today's action, I'm directing the Department of State, the Department of Justice, the Department
What's up,
of
Egon?
Homeland Security, the FBI, the Secret Service, the Department of Transportation, and many other departments and agencies to use every tool at their disposal to ensure a fantastic, safe, and beautiful event. In 2028, the Olympics is bringing...
Material things are nice, but I want to enjoy them, not waste my life chasing after them. What's up, Pathway? Already said, good at alienating the rest of the world. Yeah, pretty much, right? We're now an isolationist country. The 20s have entered the chat. The 1920s have entered the chat. Smoot Hawley, full play, baby. There will be no Epstein files in public. This stuff went to a grand jury. It's under seal. There's probably nothing anyone can do to unseal it. D. Joseph, if you think that the files are all grand jury testimony, which, by the way, it was grand jury testimony from one individual, you're sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. You're telling me there's not files in there? There was no evidence, at least that I can recall. It was testimony. That's it. That's the only thing they were trying to unseal. Testimony. They can still go about it however they want to go about it. They want to release photos? Release photos. Want to release the flight log? They did it already, by the way. By the way, they have already done this, and they did it under Joe Biden. A judge released a lot of files under Joe Biden. Look it up. January of 2024. Happened under Biden. Donald Trump, though, wants to hide them. I wonder why. Why does Trump want to do that? Why does he want to hide these files?
Bringing back our national pastime, baseball. Wow, that's great. With teams playing under the lights at the legendary Dodger Stadium, and it is legendary. It's beautiful.
What's up, Texas Repo?
Squash players will go...
Texas Repo, welcome in. Hey, by the way, this is a recurring viewer. Me and him don't always agree, but especially like this one. I love the fact that 51 Texas Democrats now have arrest warrants. Yeah, this is what fascism looks like, but that's okay. Where's the 300,000 undocumented kids Joe Biden's administration lost? Skip. When you actually look at the facts, come back to me. We can talk about it then. Dude, you're just saying opinions. Come with facts. What facts you want me to come with? Like, what about what? What are you disputing about mine, Barry? Everybody's speculating as to what these files actually are. No one would know the real thing if they saw it. Well, no, we know what some of these are in there. Because, again, some of these files, some of them, and I wouldn't even say it was really the files, okay? There was evidence that was released under, There was evidence that was released under Joe Biden. So, text warrants are issued by the GOP. They're not real. Yeah, exactly. Already, they're not going to be enforceable. And again, what people don't understand, for who's not in Texas, you can look this up. There is Supreme Court cases out there saying that them breaking decorum is totally constitutional. It's constitutional in Texas. Okay, to be clear. Volume is kind of low. Oh, what's up, Steve? I've been told that, but I don't know why it would be low. Because my microphone right now, according to Voice Meter, is actually increasing. It may possibly be the fact that I am streaming from a pretty shitty hotel Wi-Fi. Tell you to go sit on... Okay. Let's keep watching.
Ahead inside the world-famous Universal Studios, triathletes will sprint beneath the sun shining down on Venice Beach. This will be one of the great venues. I mean, when you think of it, right? It's going to be so incredible. Soccer teams will
Thank you, PLG.
face off at the legendary Rose Bowl. Sailors will race...
America's doing pretty bad, Crusader.
Port of Los Angeles, and the opening ceremony will take place at the beautiful Memorial Coliseum, just like the Olympics of 1932 and 1984. That was something. Those were very important Olympics. 1932 was a very important Olympics, wasn't it, huh? For 8 straight consecutive
people related to Epstein that were in the Clinton White House or in the Trump White House, look it up. Yeah, and again, you think this is some kind of gotcha. Guess what? If any of them are related to Epstein in a way that is criminal, lock them up. I don't care. This is the problem. See, this is the funny thing about Democrats versus Republicans. I'm sitting here saying, yeah, guess what? Lock them up. But the Republicans and MAGA are making excuses for Donald Trump. See, that's the difference between our party and y'all's party, right? Republicans don't hold their own accountable. They try to never hold their own accountable. But when it comes to Democrats, we definitely hold our own accountable. We certainly do. We've seen that already play out, by the way, several times. The volume is low, but I can hear Trump's German accent. 1930s. The volume for Trump might be a little low. That's possible. Let me increase that.
Summer Games, no one has won more medals than Team USA, which is incredible.
I see. Yep. That audio's low. Okay, that's fair. I'm going to increase it. It might be a little loud. Okay, just keep your ears perked. Might be a little loud.
Keep it that way. Over the years, Team USA has won triple the number of Summer Olympic gold medals as the next closest country, and I'm confident that that's going to continue in 2028. That's an amazing achievement, by the way. Between the LA Olympics and the FIFA World Cup next year, we have the World Cup and we have the Olympics. Got them both.
Yeah, I remember when Donald Trump went up for the World, I think it was the World Cup, but it was like some kind of soccer championship or whatever they had. I'm not a big soccer fan. And Donald Trump got up there on stage and would not come down. Remember that one? I remember that one.
It's a great time to be a sports fan in America. And maybe, I don't want to say most importantly, but it is a celebration of 250 years. We have our 250th anniversary also during the year, and it's going to be between the three of them. I think there'll be no other time that we've ever had in our history like that. So I'd like to ask the LA Olympics chairman, Casey Wasserman, to say a few words, and I appreciate it very much, Casey. Great job you've done. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm not really concerned about this character here. Let's keep going. Oh. Here we go. All right, what's being presented to him? This is so funny to me. All right, what's Trump being presented
Greatest
with?
games ever, and that starts with the support of this administration every step of the way. Thank you, sir.
Crusader said, can you explain what is happening in Texas from your point of view? Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you asked that question. I've been kind of talking about it a little bit. So I think what's happening in Texas is an abomination. Okay, we redraw district maps every 10 years because of the census. Republicans and Donald Trump have openly stated they are doing this to gain seats. There's no question about it. This is not some kind of hidden secret that Republicans are trying to gain seats. That's exactly what's happening. Okay? That is gerrymandering. They are redrawing these maps to gain seats, not to redistribute these districts based upon population. They are doing these to gain seats. So Democrats doing what Democrats are supposed to do, they are fleeing the state because in order to hold quorum, to hold a vote on this new district map, they need everybody there voting. And with Texas Democrats not being there, guess what? They can't vote. And I have heard that if the Democrats hold out until past December, then they won't have these new maps in time for, guess what? The midterms. So when it comes to what's going on in Texas, it's an absolute abomination. And to see how far they're willing to take it, arresting the Democrats, and then even further, they want to remove the Democrats from their seats, accusing them of bribery. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. It's so funny to me to hear the rightoids sit there and say they're terrified of communism and authoritarianism. Yet we're seeing authoritarianism play out right in front of our eyes. We're watching it play out in front of our eyes. And now Republicans are awfully silent. Why? Because it's their team. They don't have an actual spine at all. So, yeah. Pink said they'll be ousted from their seats. No, they won't. I think this is political theater by Abbott, quite frankly. I don't think he's actually going to do it. He might. He should. Shouldn't. Right? He doesn't have a spine, though. I think he'll probably end up backing down because he's a coward. Hot Wheels. Yeah, I said it. But what is happening is objectively authoritarianism. That's flat out what it is. Sugarcoat it however you want to. The threat of removing them from their seat For what? Doing what they're constitutionally allowed to do? Yeah, not a problem, Crusader. I hope I explain it in a very succinct way, in a way that is easy to understand. That's kind of the goal of the stream, right? I try to give y'all not a super philosophical, super in-depth understanding of the political topics at hand. I kind of take all the different facts that I have gathered, and I provide them in a way that is easy for people to understand. Yes, you can also redraw districts when you have a huge change in population, which Texas has had since so many people have fled from your terrible blue states. Hey, buddy, guess what? I'm from Texas. I know it's hard to believe. I was somebody who voted for, and I'll tell you all my voting record too, because we got 90 people in here, which, by the way, 96 people. Make sure you hit that like button. One of the things about me is, again, and I'll say it time and time again, and I have no problem saying it. It's kind of my shtick at this point. I voted for Romney in 12, Trump in 16, Cruz in 18, Trump in 20, unfortunately. I didn't vote in 22, and I voted for Kamala Harris and Colin Allred. First time I ever voted Democrat in my entire life, in 24. Because I saw how delusional and authoritarian the right has become. It's insane to me. Romney right now looks like a Democrat. It's insane. And it's funny, too, because anytime I ask anybody about them, about who they voted for in 12, they always say, oh, I voted for Obama. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't vote for Obama. I remember all the Republicans crying about his tan suit. I remember them crying about how he was going to turn the country into a communist country and all that stuff. Cruz, that's an honest admission. Yes, I said it's a sad admission. Sad admission. Let me explain this to you guys so that you understand, okay? Steve, Romney has always acted Democrat. No, he hasn't. There was a time and day when Republicans were at least halfway, centered on their mind at least, and they had, we can go look at John McCain when he told the one lady, hey, calm it down, right? There was at least some class, albeit maybe not a lot, but there was at least something there. But the thing about Cruz is that Cruz has been terrible for the state of Texas. What has he done? What major legislation has Cruz done for the state of Texas? He's ripped millions of people off of Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP. There's that. He ran away from 2 natural disasters, the infamous Cancun cruise. There's the one where he ran away during the flooding that happened over there in near Camp Mystic and all that, Kerrville. So yeah, that happened.
Thank you.
I see what you did there, Ohio, and so I'm gonna go check your facts there, buddy. Facts don't care about your feelings. Frat House, I take no contributions at the moment from any organization. I am an independent political pundit. All of my donations come from my audience and my viewers. And I appreciate every one of you guys who have liked the stream right now. We're up to 104 viewers. Let's continue watching this and see what Donald Trump was gifted. Something he wasn't deserving of.
He's in the Olympic movement, but as you know, 1984 hosted the Olympics in Los Angeles.
Right.
And someone we admire, President Reagan, both of us, presided over those. And you will preside over our games. So we have for you a full set of the 84 original medals.
Wow.
Reagan would be in tears at what had just happened, just to be clear.
Can I say that I won them athletically?
Yes, sir.
That would be a great honor.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I get it, Tron. They are popping. Unfortunately, I need to get a better stand, and I can do it right here. Unfortunately, it's like right up on my mouth, so I got to do a little bit better with it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You want to say
Yep.
that? Pam. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Here we go. This is the
Do you
good
still
stuff.
plan to follow through on your threat to impose 100% tariffs on all countries that purchase Russian energy, including China?
100% tariffs. We already saw him impose 50% tariffs on India. 100% tariffs, guys. Let that sink in.
Well, I never said a percentage, but we'll be doing quite a bit of that. We'll see what happens over the next fairly short period of time. But we'll see what happens. Yep. You know, they have a meeting
Wolfman,
tomorrow.
you
We
gotta
have a
chill out.
meeting with
You
Russia
don't-
tomorrow.
oh, yeah.
We're going to see what happens. We'll make that determination at that time. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for calling on me.
Trump.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Ukraine, President Zelensky just signed a law allowing for citizens age 60 and above to serve in the military. We've seen dozens of videos of young men being hauled into vans and dragged to the front lines against their will. And we've even seen videos of a young man with Down syndrome serving on the front line.
Yeah, alrighty, he's correct. 35% on Canada, and you need our softwood lumber. That's why housing prices are going to go up as well, right? We're losing some of our construction workers, whether you have an agreement or disagreement with that kind of work. The fact is they are contributing to our economy in that regard. We also have lumber prices going up. Materials going up. Makes it more expensive.
You campaigned, you said you wanted to see the people stop dying. A lot of people admired that statement. Now the people dying are elderly, mentally handicapped, and conscripts. So even if a ceasefire doesn't work out, why should Americans continue to fund a foreign military that's scraping the bottom of the...
Tron said, no, seriously, you have to listen to it. You sound like a late-night jazz radio DJ. Tron, listen. Okay, you're listening to KRBE, KRJE, whatever, okay? MAGA. Yeah, it kind of sucks because I have to be real soft-toned right now because I'm in a hotel. I can't scream. I really want to at some of you guys, but it's okay. But we're going to continue going.
barrel of its population like this?
Well, you have to understand very importantly, this is Biden's war. This is not my war. I'm here to get us out of it. It's a mess, and I'm here to get
Which
us
Donald Trump
out.
said
I haven't heard
Donald Trump said he was going to do on day one. Never did.
that when you say about 60-year-old men and, et cetera. But this is Biden's war, and we're working very hard to get us out. I stopped 5 wars in the last 5 months, actually, and I'd like this to be the 6th, frankly, and that doesn't even include Iran with, obliterating their nuclear haul because they would have had nuclear weapons within 2 months. But stopped a lot of wars. You just take a look at the ones just over the last 2 or 3 months. It's been amazing. This is the one I'm trying to stop. This is the one we're working hardest on. The other ones I stopped within a matter of days, almost every one of them, including India and Pakistan, and I could go.
Maybe Powell should reduce interest rates to help the housing market. No, he shouldn't, because prices are already high. You try to increase rates to tame inflation. Reducing rates is, guess what? Going to raise prices. Why? Because then guess what? You're going to lower the rates, right? You don't want to do that.
Go over the whole list, but you know the list as well as I do. But this is the one we'd like to see. I haven't not heard that, but this is Biden's war.
I find it hilarious when certain individuals come in here and they're like, this is a lame channel. And it's like, thank you. You took the time to not only swipe and stop on my channel and watch at least a 30-second channel, and then you commented, and then you commented again, and then you commented again. Appreciate the comments. You're engaging, and you're helping out the algorithm. Appreciate your contribution to this channel.
And it's a war that he got us into or indirectly got us into. It should have never happened. It would have never happened.
Inflation is not tamed. It is still going up. If you look at trueflation, it has gone up as well.
Had I been president, yeah.
By the way, thank you, Julian, for that subscription. Hey, guys, do me a huge solid. If you have not already liked the stream, please like the stream. We are going to be going till about 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, so we got 15 more minutes. Let's try to get through this.
Next to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would you support Israel reoccupying all of Gaza, as has been suggested by some Israeli officials?
Well, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not a big Israel-Palestine kind of pundit, but what I will say is this is definitely an escalation by Netanyahu to take over the Gaza Strip.
I don't know what the suggestion is. I know that we are there now.
Inflation is 2.7, the same as it was before the election, and Powell lowered the rate to try to save the Democrats. Yeah, he didn't lower the rate to try to save the Democrats. Joe Biden's economy was showing to be very great. A lot of the policies that he was implementing were going to be great for American jobs. We can look at all of that. So again, I think that what Powell is working off of is trying to bring inflation down to 2%. He's also trying to think there's a certain target unemployment rate that he looks at as well. And what we're seeing with these job numbers, they're atrocious. These job numbers are god-awful. And it's only going to get worse.
Trying to get people fed. As you know, $60 million was given by the United States fairly recently to supply food, and a lot of food, frankly, for the people of Gaza that are obviously not doing too well with the food. And I know Israel's going to help us with that in terms of distribution and also money. We also have the Arab states.
The one thing I have a problem with the distribution of aid to Gaza, okay? Let me be very, very clear here, okay? One of the problems I have right now with this aid being distributed is that there's no security, right? So what concerns me is that this aid is being given to a country that is not going to be delivered in a efficient manner, right? There's no security that what I'm worried about, in other words, is that food being delivered and a few people hoarding that food. Just airdropping food in the middle of the desert, what does that serve? Doesn't help anything. If you understand why the companies held back on hiring, you would understand they are waiting for the tariffs to shake out and the BBB to pass. Keep that energy in the next couple of months. Crazy cope. Pink, if you understood why companies right now are not raising prices nearly as much as they normally would, is because they're holding out that maybe Trump will taco out and the tariffs will go away. But Donald Trump has already shown he's going to keep these tariffs in place, and he's going to keep on raising them. The other factor in this is that companies bought inventory prior to the tariffs being implemented. So they're working off of pre-tariff inventory, and they're running out really quickly. Thus, we're seeing them lay off workers because they don't want to raise prices if they don't have to. So now they're laying off workers. Remember those manufacturing jobs that Donald Trump said he was bringing back? Yeah, he's not bringing them back. Not happening. And remember how he wanted to bring back coal and mining and all that? Yeah, that's also starting to decrease. That's what happens. Companies are still going to raise their prices, and just know that companies will never lower those prices. They're going to go up, they're going to stay high, and they're not going to come down. It's going to take a Democrat to come into office to fix, and it's going to take multiple administrations to fix what Donald Trump is doing in just 6 months. 6 months.
Are going to help us with that in terms of the money and possibly distribution. So that's what I'm focused on as far.
Pink said jobs still went up, just not a lot. Yes, but real wages will come up. Okay, let's break that down. So jobs went up. No, they didn't. In fact, let me explain a little bit what happened. May and June's numbers were revised from like 79,000 to like 12,000 down. We also saw, if you look at the individual jobs, the reason why it's so high is because of government and healthcare. Those are the two that saw the biggest increases. In other jobs, if you look at the June and May report, manufacturing is stagnant. Coal and mining and all that, stagnant. That's what Donald Trump has done. He's stagnated jobs. Okay, and again, you can go to the BLS labor statistics report, okay, and you can see all this data. Oh, you can also look at the fact that GDP has been up only because of the fact that imports are down, which increases the GDP. Okay, imports are down. Further, if you go and look at the GDP results, you can see that investments on specifically non-residential structures, like warehouses, yeah, that investment's down as well. 3 year, okay. Fortunately, I'm unable to do anything with you at the moment. Let me go to Twitch real quick. Don't know if it's going to pop up. I'll take an act of Congress to stop illegal immigration. Joe Biden saying it will take several administrations to fix Trump-era policies. Way of saying Democrats are ineffective. Incorrect. For what it's worth, Donald Trump was pretty good at there we go. Let's go back to YouTube now. Hold on one second. I'm having to do like things really messed up here. Okay. Healthcare ain't a job. What the hell is wrong with you, son? You don't know what the F you're talking about? You want to bet? Do you really want to say that? You sure about that? Healthcare ain't a job. Healthcare jobs. He's got it. I mean, he's obviously trolling, but I think that's hilarious. I can pull it up if you want. All right, let's continue playing Trump.
The rest of it, I really can't say. That's going to be pretty much up to Israel. Yeah, please. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. On transgender athletes in the Olympics, back to the safety, especially of female combat boxers.
Do you think in the long run things may improve the Trump's plan? Absolutely not. Okay? For a few reasons. Companies like stability. Donald Trump is the complete opposite of that. One of the reasons why we have not had any real investment in oil refineries is because it takes 10 years to fully bring up a oil refinery to operational standards. So it takes 10 years. That's a lot of investment. And what they want to make sure of is that when a company comes here, that the economical environment is going to be great. Political environment is going to be great. They want stability. So I'll give you an example where a scenario Donald Trump could have played out. And a lot of people are going to tell me, it's funny when a lot of the MAGA come in here, they're like, oh, they give me crap because they don't understand who I am. Donald Trump's first term with tariffs was probably how it was supposed to be done. Admittedly. Okay? I may not agree with it totally, but he implemented it in a way that was the right way to do it. Right? You put tariffs on a particular individual country, and then what that does is then you try to incentivize purchases from another country where it might be you try to have them invest into another country that is meeting our standards, and then when that works, then it works. Right now, Donald Trump, however, is just implementing tariffs all over the place. If he wants to bring back manufacturing to the United States, then what he needs to do is create an environment where businesses want to invest in the United States. Not what Donald Trump is doing is taking a sledgehammer approach instead of a crowbar, right? He's using the stick instead of the carrot. The carrot is, like Joe Biden did, it said, hey, you come to the United States, you invest in our country, we will go ahead, we will give you your money back to a certain degree, essentially, right? You have to put in so much, and we'll give it back. We give you the carrot. Invest in our country. Right? That's how you're supposed to do it. Donald Trump is trying to basically isolate us from the entire world. It's an isolationist policy. $15 trillion in new investments. All right, let's look up the 15 trillion number because I'm curious. We'll go back to one cam for a quick second. Getting close here anyways. I'm going to look up that 15 trillion because I think I know where you're getting that number from, but I want to make sure I get it right. 15 trillion new investments. This is going to be bad news bears because I already know where this is going to go, but let's look it up. 15 trillion. Here we go. I think I got where you're getting it from. Actually, I don't see trillion in here at all. The only place I've seen anything referencing trillions is from the Trump administration himself. Oh, here we go. This is from CBS on May 6th. Trump touts. Oh, goodness. All these ad blocker bullcrap. Give me a second. Hold on. Trump touts $9 trillion in new U.S. investments. The numbers don't add up. I think we probably have close to $9 trillion in investments coming to this country, Mr. Trump said in an interview on NBC's Meet the Press. He also repeatedly claimed that he secured more investment in the first 2 months than President Biden did in 4 years. Neither claim is supported by evidence, confirms CBS News found. While companies have announced hundreds of billions of dollars in planned investments since Mr. Trump's January 20th inauguration, the White House now provided data showing the total approaches. Yeah, this is typical. They're not really going to show you the full amount. They're just going to say, yeah, we have about $9 trillion in investments, so there's no evidence for it. Nice try, though. That's a good one. Biden didn't bring in a nickel, you're completely incorrect. Look at the CHIPS Act. The CHIPS Act brought in manufacturers. This is the funny thing about it is Donald Trump is taking credit for Joe Biden's CHIPS Act. Joe Biden brought in, I think it was TSMC, I think is the name of their organization, the company. They came in. They're a huge chip manufacturer. And then guess what proceeded? They make AI chips. NVIDIA decided to come because they want to be closer to the supply chain of TSMC. It might have been TSMC. I have to look at it again. So Donald Trump is basically piggybacking off of Joe Biden's CHIPS Act. And he kind of acknowledges it, by the way, too. He says he's going to revamp the CHIPS Act. Okay. In other words, he's giving credit that the CHIPS Act was actually pretty good.
Will the Department of Justice considering pressing charges against any man that tries to masquerade as a woman coming into this country to beat up American athletes? And secondly, would your administration consider genetic testing so that these people can prove that they're actually women competing?
Well, I think there is going to be a very strong...
I don't have my solo source up. What the hell did I just listen to? What the hell was that? I think you're mad they cut your food stamps, buddy. Promise you. I'm at a hotel right now because of work. I get paid pretty damn good money. I don't need food stamps. CHIPS Act is on doled out $15 billion because of all the strict regulations on the money. Well, but Steve, that's kind of the idea behind it, right? Is that one of the things is they're not just going to hand out free money. That's the whole idea Republicans don't like, right? Republicans don't like free money. And I would agree. I think there needs to be certain regulations. You shouldn't just hand out whatever money you want to do. There should be strict regulations on that money. But guess what? Companies are incentivized to still come here. It's a far better idea than doing this dumb tariff policy. All it does is harms Americans. Maybe we're mad because they deport you cheap labor. I don't have cheap labor, but nice try.
form of testing as far as charges. I'd have to ask the Attorney General.
There's no proof that Apple's been saying $600 billion for a long time. They're just trying to get in good graces with Trump. That's all they do. They've been saying that for a long time. They've been saying it since January, and I have yet to have seen any progress towards it.
About that, I don't know, but there will be a very...
And in fact, Steve, I have one of the videos up, but we're not going to be able to watch it tonight. But I'm going to try to watch it either Friday or Saturday if nothing big pops off. And again, we don't really watch a whole lot of videos. I try to get through some of these videos, and sometimes it's more or less a chat with you guys. But I did a lot of good and didn't need constant praise. Yeah, exactly already. He didn't need constant praise. In fact, he was met with a lot of not so good praises.
Very strong form of testing, and if the test doesn't come out appropriately, they won't be in the Olympics. Yes, ma'am, please. Go ahead, please. White.
Thank you. Mr. President, do you believe that the U.S. committee would have made this decision on men and women's sports if you weren't president? And do you believe that this decision will stay in place once you are no longer president?
I think they probably would have, because it just seems to be an issue that most people feel should be. I can't really say. I'd have to...
I'll say this, okay? Here's my problem when it comes to this whole men and women's sports thing, okay? It's a very, very, very small issue, okay? What Donald Trump is saying is trying to take credit for this stuff. If I'm not mistaken, and it's been a while since I've looked at it, I don't believe that men can even really participate in women's sports, even in the Olympics. I could be wrong on this. I haven't looked into this in a while, but I'm pretty certain that men can't do that, as it is to begin with. This is Trump just being, quite frankly, transphobic. But to further this point, the media is asking all these questions, giving Trump praises. This is a deeply concerning issue that I have for this country, okay? Spartacus, what's going on, buddy, man? You're catching us right at the tail end of everything. But welcome in, man. Welcome in. So, first of all, guys, it's not too late to hit that like, subscribe, notification bell if you haven't already. You're more than welcome to do that. But the problem I have is that the media is terrified of Donald Trump. They don't want to report negatively, so they're praising him. Remember all that left-wing media, that MSNBC, that CNN. Yeah, that's doesn't exist because they're terrified of getting sued. The new media is the online spaces. It's places like where I report. There's places like Midas Touch. Yeah, I'm not giving any right-wing grifter any kind of praises. They don't deserve a single praise. They don't deserve a single dollar, quite frankly. And there's a lot of right-wing grifters out there. They're doing nothing but further dividing our country. So, what's deeply concerning is this guy lives in the greatest country in the world is crying. There's no tears for me. I'm watching all the MAGA tears right now. And it's funny, too, because that same thing could have been said about all of the MAGA for the past 4 years crying about Trump not winning 2020. In fact, that's all I heard. That's all I heard from right-wing media pundit spaces about 2020 and how Trump won. He won. Okay. Or how about all those criminals that got locked up because they were dumbasses for J6? And how y'all cried about criminals. Yeah. No, streamers like you lie and spread propaganda. No lie here, Steve. You're more welcome to point it out if you feel so entitled. Yeah, Wes, chat's kind of funny tonight. I'm a little bit on my ASMR right now. I think the streaming from the hotel room is actually going pretty well, Wes. I think I don't know. What do you think? Stream's going pretty well. The microphone is halfway decent. I need to get a stand for this microphone. I had one. Came in, it was supposed to be like a 3-prong mic thing, like sits like that or whatever. Yep, no matter what you say, Trump will still be president for 3.5 more years. Not unless Democrats get in and impeach him, buddy. There's a thing called impeachment, which I would say at this point is well far more than deserving. Clinton got impeached for having consensual matters in the Oval Office. We had Nixon, who bugged the Watergate Hotel. Trump has committed more scandals than those two combined. I think it's more than welcoming that they can impeach him. So again, Trump going this hard and fast, he's still got to contend with midterms. And right now, red states are trying to gerrymander for the purposes of gaining seats. And all they're going to do is give Democrats a rallying cry. You see, Wes said, looks good, sound could be higher, but I get it with the, what's that, Snowball? Yeah, it's Snowball. See, here's the thing. What Republicans fail to understand is this, okay? Democrats, when they are backed into a corner, come out in droves, and they absolutely vote, okay? They do. So when you give them a reason to come out and vote, they're going to come out. And Donald Trump playing this hard and this fast, and Republicans in Texas trying to threaten the arrest of Democrats, please continue doing this, because guess what's going to happen? Democrats are going to come out, we're going to vote, and when Democrats become in power in the House and the Senate, there might be impeachment hearings. And I would say it's completely warranted. The fact that Donald Trump has already blatantly said he doesn't pretty much care about the First Amendment. So, Joseph, are you saying that Democrats did not feel cornered going into the 2024 election? Here's the problem that I have with the 2024 election. First of all, they came out and voted. The problem we had is we got comfortable. Democrats got comfortable. There were certain movements within the Democrat Party that didn't come out to vote. We had the particular issue going on right now with Palestine and Gaza. Okay, and I'm not, listen, I know there's people that have a very strong opinion in my chat probably about that issue, but I'm just saying that was a sector of the Democratic Party that did not come out and vote. And in fact, in some cases, they actually voted for Trump, which is wild. So that's the crazy thing about it. And it was funny, as Steve, you mentioned it, and I know, Wes, I know this is a very sensitive topic, right? Yeah, no, and I get that, Wes. But what I'm trying to say is that they came out, and when we look at 2020, okay, look at 2020. I encourage anybody to look at that. Democrats had to deal with Donald Trump for 4 years. And right around 2020, in November, I was falling asleep. One of the things we had in 2020 was the BLM protests, a rallying cry for Democrats. So what did we do? We came out and we voted not for Trump. We voted for Joe Biden handedly. And we got comfortable under Joe Biden. It's as simple as that. And we don't have to make it super complicated. Anybody who tries to sit here and say that there's some kind of complicated reason why Donald Trump won, it's very simple. there were about 2 or 3 main issues that Americans were voting on. The normies. Focus on the normies. Don't focus on the terminally online political people, including the right. They voted on the economy. They voted on immigration. And I think there was one other one. I think it was democracy was one of them. But typically it was immigration and the economy. And they felt under Joe Biden, they saw inflation going up, even though Joe Biden tamed it. And the normies said, well, I didn't have these high prices under Donald Trump. And the normies voted for Donald Trump. But guess what? Those prices aren't coming down. They're not coming down. So guess what? If those prices don't come down, we can just look at it from a very simple perspective. Americans vote with their wallet. So when the midterms come around, not only are you going to have societal issues, they're absolutely going to have economical issues that they have to face. West said, libs get comfortable every time they win. They tend to sit down for 4 years because it's a pressure valve. They get one election, feel better. Oh, Wes. I know where you're getting that from. The pressure valve. You're referring to Cenk. Is that a Cenk talking point? I feel like I'd heard that from when I was listening to the Jubilee thing. The pressure valve thing. It's funny, too, because I'm not saying, maybe you didn't listen to it, but you can always tell when somebody watched a certain video because they use certain terminology in the same thing. And you may not have watched it. But I don't think that the liberals, okay, I think Democrats have done a damn good job. And I think that they have tried everything they can to provide for the American people. Problem is, and this is something me and you can have a healthy debate on, Wes, is that the further left wants something done immediately. And I just don't think that that's something that can pragmatically happen. Okay. I didn't know if you did watch them or not. Who is paying all of you to do the same thing? Well, listen, if you're so upset, thank you. Whoever did that, I think it was Wes. Appreciate that. Look at the inflation chart under Biden going into Trump's second term. The DNC had to pull that post down. Inflation going into Trump's second term? What are you talking about? Inflation was under control. Inflation was at like 2%. It's virtually almost non-existent at that point. Spartacus Joe Biden handlers left a real mess that's going to take a while to fix. Maybe. Biden's administration was a complete failure? No, it wasn't. I mean, unfortunately, I did watch that Jubilee, but it was more of a hate watch. Welcome to my stream, Wes. Okay. The 99 viewers I've got, I'm sure a few of them, probably about 10 or 20, but yeah. Exactly, Wes. Yeah, talk all the shit you want, but I'm starting to put a little more of a rein on it because what I don't want to do is have people. I don't mind those who are in my chat, by the way. Thank you, Dan Price. 2.4%. I thought it was really low. It peaked at 9%, and he brought it down to 2.4%. Nobody talks about that. But I agree, Wes. I think we need to start taking a little bit more of a different action towards it, just so that we can have a 2.7. Anyways, I wanted to I want to start reining in the chat a little bit so that we can invite more people from the left into this channel. Not to say, listen, if you come in here and you're a righty and you want to have like meaningful conversations, by all means. You want to talk shit to me? Talk all the shit you want. But don't use slurs. Okay? Don't talk shit to other people in chat. Simple things like that. That's all. Yeah, when election came around? What do you mean election came around? What are you talking about that, John? Lay said, Steve, 74% didn't vote for Trump. Keep up. Yeah, well, the funny thing is, Lay, too, is that Trump only won by like 1%. It was like it was very, very, very thin margin. Keep it classy. Exactly. I'm Middle Dog. What's up, Bee-Boo? Yeah, no, that's not a problem. I don't mind people who are centrist. I think sometimes centrists tend to lean a little more right, but that's okay. This guy is cake. At least they hired real autists on the chance. And that's okay. Hey, just so you know, I actually do have Asperger's syndrome. I was actually diagnosed with it, but words don't hurt me. Y'all ever going to have anything else to talk about? If not for Trump, most of y'all would have a platform. Say thank you. You're not wrong. Well, Trump is one of the most controversial figures in our lifetime. He is somebody who is patently against the Constitution, who is stripping away all of our constitutional rights. I would say that that's pretty worthy of reporting on. And yeah, it does provide a lot of content. You're not wrong. Same with the border. They wanted to get their shit together once it was time to vote. Not necessarily, John. The problem is that if you look back at Joe Biden's policies, he tried to get rid of the Remain in Mexico policy, but was fought in the courts until I think for a couple of years. And eventually I think they got rid of it. And then we can look at the fact that in 2024 they tried to pass immigration policy. One of the downfalls I think with Joe Biden is that his policy was to try to pass legislation. He did not want to do a ton of executive orders, right? And through that legislation, that is what ended up causing Joe Biden to delay. And yeah, of course, he waited until 2024. This is why I said, I think when it came to Trump, if there's any minuscule amount of credit I may give him, would be on the border. But I think even that is me giving way too much grace. Okay? I think that is all overshadowed. It's kind of like for every one good thing you may have for Donald Trump, there's about 100 or 1,000 bad things, right? So on the topic of immigration, congratulations, you met the one thing. Okay? And I think that there's something about having a tough stance, just a tough stance on the border that can help deteriorate that. But it's how far do you take that tough stance? And Donald Trump has gone too far, in my opinion. His policy was to replace the American citizen with illegals. Completely incorrect there, Steve. Completely incorrect there. It is true that in some states, undocumented immigrants can vote or get driver's licenses or whatnot, but they can't vote in federal elections. That's just patently untrue. Let's talk about Bill Clinton's oil painting of him in a dress ain't pink. Guess what? How many times have we got to say this? Anybody who's been in my chat for a while, guess what? If it's a Democrat and they're in the Epstein files, release the files. It's that simple. But I want to get more House seats? No, not necessarily. Okay. Hey, guys, look, we are way past time. I've got to call the wife. It is actually where I am at. It is 10 o'clock. So I'm way past my bedtime. But I appreciate everybody that came in here, and I'm honestly thoroughly surprised with how well the stream went. It gives me confidence that the next time we go out and traveling, we can do some more of these, some more of these streams. But hey, guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like, subscribe, notification bell if you haven't already. And I appreciate everybody who tuned in here. We had a lot of viewers for me being on the road. It means a lot to me. So anyways, guys, y'all have a great night. Make sure, again, like I said, Friday we will not be streaming at 7:30 because of the fact I'll be on the road. But Saturday, I'm going to try to stream. I think I'm going to be home alone that day, so I'm going to try to stream from the crib. But, yeah, thank you for everybody who came in. Thank you for everybody who subscribed. If you're watching this on Twitter, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're watching this on Twitch, follow me as well. And I appreciate everybody who turned out. It was a pretty good stream for all things considered. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for coming in as well. Alrighty, I appreciate the description as well. Yep, have a good night, everyone.